Am I the only one that thought that when he cuts the bully's hand, remember?
Yeah, the bully took it real well.
Did. It's exactly what I wrote.
It was just like
and took it very well.
What's your favorite scary movie? Swallow this.
Hi, welcome back, guys. Arrow and the Head Show. John Lance talking movies as always. How have you been, old sir?
Old sir? What the fuck is that? Not that old, bro.
Well, you're getting up there, right? More time behind you than in front, John.
25, 30, yeah, the usual. You prick. I'm dandy, bro. I'm dandy. I'm pretty excited, actually. In case you guys and dolls don't know, I co-wrote, co-produced, and directed a film last year called, well, it was called Break, but misspelled, AEK. But now distributor renamed it to Malicious. And the film comes out on October 10 on disc and streaming. And we're going to have a premiere in Beverly Hills on the 5th. So finally put, this suicide mission into the world. And, whatever happens, happens. That's how it is. But here's a little taste of it.
I'm really sorry about how this is going to go down. I'm going to hurt you. And your mom.
Yeah, look, she got the movie going and everything. All right, so you're going to be in Beverly Hills on October 5th for the premiere of Malicious. Okay,
yeah,
well,
definitely. And October 10, the release. So I hope whoever the fuck watches it enjoys it. I gave it everything I had with all the guns to my head. So there you have it.
Yeah, we'll I'm sure we'll put some sort of link when it's available, whatever. When it comes out and we do the episode, we'll make sure it's linked so people could find it.
For sure.
Oh, well, awesome, man. Well, looks like we're talking about, what is it, John? Is it 88, 89? It is 88. Okay.
88.
1988's 976 Evil, directed by Mr. Robert Englund, one of his very few.
Yeah, he directed 2 movies, really. It was this one, 976 Evil.
And
then
some weird...
Killer Pad, I think it was called.
It's some weird like horror comedy thing. And then he did an episode of...
Freddy's Nightmare.
Oh, Freddy's Nightmare. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
in terms of future, it was 76 Evil and Killer Pad. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. I love having my balls broken. So just ask my chick. Can't get enough. I saw it on VHS, and I think it was an extended version. There's a theatrical version and an extended version. And then there's a director's cut, but I don't think that was ever properly released. But I know like Bobby E, Robert Englund, I'm going to call him Bobby E, just live with it. Bobby had his cut, and then the studio had him cut a couple of scenes out, which were supposed to be cut, like in terms of pacing and such. And then the distributor had the movie cut down a bit more in terms of like gore and shit. So I saw initially the extended cut. Saw it on VHS, of course, rented it because Robert Englund was directing. And this was right before Bobby E truly blew up with Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Oh, this is before 4.
Yeah, before part 4.
Oh, okay.
And the film tanked at the box office, but kind of gained a cult status on VHS to the point that there was a sequel done. 976 Evil Part 2, Astral Projection, I think it was called, or the so let's just.
I've never seen it. I saw the picture and I didn't recognize the cover.
Yeah, and the dude, what's his fucking name? You missed that guy.
It's Spike.
Yeah, Spike, which is played by Patrick O'Brien. Bobby E cast him because he thought he looked like a young Brando from like a Streetcar Named Desire. I personally don't see it, but I like the dude. And, he had screen presence and, looked good, the smoke, the leather jacket, and, playing, the rebel without a clue, and yeah, he shows back in Part 2 as the same character. I know we're talking about Part 2 way too much right now, but I'm just going to want to say this. Brigitte Nielsen Stallone's ex-wife, who was in Cobra, Rocky 4. She has kind of like a really small role in part 2, and she got it. If memory serves me right, it was directed by Jim Wynorski, who's like a king director of low-budget shit. And Nielsen and Wynorski were at a party together, and they had like a bet. And basically, if he won, I don't remember what he got, but if she won, she would get a role in the movie. And she won the bet, and that's how she got in 976 Evil 2.
Part 2. Which nobody's ever seen. I love it. Or you might have seen it.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I remember thinking it was shit. And I couldn't tell you one scene from it. So I saw it once and I never saw it again. But part 1 is one that I revisit on a regular basis. Before we jump into balls deep into 976 Evil's anus, I want to remind you guys and dolls that we have a toll-free number. You pointing? Yeah, you better point. And call us, comments, suggestions, ball breaking, whatever you want. And stay tuned. At the end of the show, we're going to answer a couple of messages that we got recently.
All right, John, the good. Let's go.
1988, 80s, those, 1-800 numbers, 900 numbers, 976 numbers, it was a big thing, I remember as a young teenager, and I discovered those sex phone lines.
Yeah, of course.
And man, did I rack up the phone bill, and my dad found out, and it did not go well. But I thought, it was a unique premise. I think it's a pretty cool premise that you get a 976 toll-free number, and it's a hotline to Satan.
Yeah, runs by the devil. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you really just take the initial premise at face value, it's actually really cool. So you get the number, the more you call, you get possessed. And of course, it has this Carrie, Christine type of, character who's, picked on and all that shit. And with a super religious mother, like the mother in Carrie, he's picked on like the dude in Christine. And then through the phone, he gets possessed and gets revenge. I mean, like on paper, it's pretty fucking cool, I think.
It has a very Stephen King-esque kind of vibe. It also fits very into the 80s stratosphere, and like the Satanic Panic, and then you got the kind of punks and everything about it is it's very of its time, but there's a charm to that because it's all about exactly people calling, and it's a little piece of paper too. I love that, It's like they're handing out a little leaflet, like here's for Satan. Here's for Satan.
Yeah, one time, it was a piece of paper, no iPhones, no nothing, So I love the premise. I'll get into the execution a little bit later. I love the actors. I loved O'Brien. Was that his name? I keep forgetting his fucking
Patrick O'Brien. Yeah, the most
Patrick O'Brien. So
I'm assuming not Irish at all, right? I mean,
no, he's not Irish lad at all. Yeah, no. Okay, we'll go.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm a wee leprechaun. I thought he rocked it. Actually, his career pretty much ended after part 2. So I don't know, Patrick, wherever the fuck you are, bro, you owned it. So
Kevin Dillon took his place.
And then you had
Stephen Joffreys or Jeffries. I think it's Jeffries.
Jeffries, the dude, Evil Ed from Fright Night.
Yeah, basically the same character, only dorkier.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. He actually went into gay porn after this one.
I did know he went to gay porn. I didn't realize it was this quick. I thought he might have had a couple.
Pretty much after 976. I think he had like 1 or 2 projects after like small stuff, but after 976, he went and played the flute, bro. A man's got to relax.
Man's got to relax.
Got to get paid, and you got to get laid to get paid. So but I thought he was great, and he played the whole like dorky, vulnerable thing really well. And then as he got possessed and got more aggressive, more twisted, he played that well too. So I thought he rocked it. And we had what's actually good in this one, but the chick from Final Nightmare, Leslie Dean.
Wait a second, I didn't even put that together.
Yo,
the blonde chick that takes panties,
schoolgirl skirt,
and a leather jacket.
Got it, leather jacket, a bit of tit shot. Is the angry chick that I couldn't stand in Final Nightmare. Bruh.
Well, I'll be damned. I did not recognize her. Great looking girl. Good parts. Probably one of the better death scenes, I would argue.
Definitely.
Okay, yeah. It's funny. I did take note of the schoolgirl skirts and the leather jacket. It's like the most 80s thing.
Well, boys will be boys, yeah.
Boys will be boys.
Remember in Psycho when Janet Leigh gets, of
course.
And, the shower curtain, and then ta-da, it's kind of like a shot. Her face is, I guess.
Oh, yes. It goes into the drain to her eye, yes.
Yeah, before the drain, her face hits the ground. So, like this. So, anyways, I know that Bobby E did on purpose. He repeated the same shot. So when she dies from the spider, it's the same exact shot that Janet Leigh when she dies from the shower thing. Even another little homage to Hitchcock was when he's looking at Leslie Dean riding cowboy on a spike with his, telescope. Although I found it weird that the blinds were there was this much of the window open, but yet this motherfucker is able to see some titties. So, kudos.
I always thought there was such a weird relationship with those guys. I get that Spike was trying to be protective, but I don't know if you remember at the very beginning, he sends them this note, and then he looks over, he's just like, what's going on here, guys? What's going on?
I didn't get that. I didn't get the homoerotic subtext.
They are in different houses, right?
Yes. I think they live across from each other, no?
Yeah, because they have the bank teller thing.
Concoction that they mess it. What did he send when they have the sex scene and sends nice rack or something? Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say that's probably the only big negative I have, which is there's no way he would stop, get that, look at it, laugh, and have her not just leave him immediately. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, me and the boy next door just exchanging notes real quick. Hold on.
It's his cousin. Come on.
I think he might have been a little too busy at the time, no?
Yeah, I personally would not stop intercourse to read a note that I know is coming from my simpleton cousin. No, I drop a load, and maybe after I'm done, I cuddle a little bit, then I read the note. But I agree.
Yeah, I do appreciate the 80s bully punks.
They're such pussies, though, man.
Yeah, I never experienced. They didn't exist in my time, though. But that's very movie-ish. Where they're all smoking and working at the top of the movie theater, and they're all just they drinking Jack. He was just drinking the pint like it was water. I mean, I like it because it's over the top and it's almost goofy. But I appreciate that there's spray paint everywhere for some reason. They're in the bathroom at school smoking cigarettes, and there's people have pouring on their lockers. I was like, what's going on here? It's the 80s. The 80s.
It's almost like a caricature.
Yes.
It's not I'd break those guys like breadsticks. They're nothing.
Well, he does the one guy gets scratched, and then he's just like, "Baby Lou." It's like, you're tough a minute ago, man.
It's a fucking character actor, man. I've seen in many movies. Darren E. Burroughs. He has a face like 976 Evil was this dude's first movie. Then he was in Casualty of War, directed by Brian De Palma. Class of 1999, great fucking movie. He's been he has a face that I personally recognize every time I see a movie. I'm like, oh, that dude. So it was nice to see him. Am I the only one that thought that when he cuts the bully's hand, remember?
Yeah, the bully took it real well.
Did. It's exactly what I wrote.
It was just
took it very well. And that's that's on Bobby E. You're directing an actor, okay, action, the hand gets cut. Ow. Cut. Yeah, bruh, give me something, man. I was like, did he really cut his hand? Because then, he's holding the hand, hello, or some shit.
He's wrapping it like he lost a quarter of the pinky tip, It's like, ah.
Yeah, it's a rough day at the office, but yeah, if you get your hand at the wrist cut off, personally, I think I'll be yelping like a hooker on prom night, with no lube. So that was a faux pas. I guess we're into the negatives already, are we?
I'm gonna intermix mine because I don't have a clear distinction. I think there's a lot that works, a lot that doesn't. Let me just start off in saying I think Robert Englund had a lot of good ideas to here, but I could tell this was his first movie and that nobody was checking up on him. The movie theater, I didn't really get where things were supposed to be, but there's positives. I like the roof thing. They didn't show it when he pales the one guy on like the little the LED sign.
Yeah.
And then there's this, it's clearly like a matte painting mixed with some other effects, but there's a low angle shot that shows the guy just kind of hanging off it. I was like, I like that. I like that. But dude, I did notice a lot of awkwardness in between that, though.
The entire movie theater is a miniature.
Oh, is that why it looked all a little weird? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's like poster, if I remember, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think there was a poster of Evil Dead. So the door is the door, a real door. Everything around it is a miniature, and it was a technique that, which I forgot what it was called, that wasn't like used often, and they kind of used it. They used it there. They used it at the end with the the hole that leads to hell.
Yeah, in the front yard.
It worked better with the theater than the ending. The ending, I thought, the visual effects were piss poor, in my opinion. But
yeah, and this was it Kevin Yeager?
Well, Kevin Yeager did the makeup. So he did the makeup of,
But it's his like effects company, no?
I know for a fact that because Yeager got along with Englund, having worked on part Nightmare 2 and 3, if memory serves me right. So he got in to do the, I was going to call him Evil Ed, but the hoax, demon makeup. And of the practical kills and stuff. Well, makeup's pretty good, I thought. Yeah.
Pretty good, except for the hands. But everything else, I like to look at the end when he has the glasses. That's a cool... Yeah. It's a cool look because it's unique. I find it like iconic in a way where like I wouldn't think of it like put a dorky kid in this little dorky outfit and like glasses and
the hair. And
it's cool. I will say one thing though that I realized in this rewatch because I haven't seen in a while. Before I forget, let's give a little mention to the great Robert Picardo as basically the devil. It's just a cool little thing. I
notice his hair is like this, like little horns. Did you know?
Because he's sick at first at the end. Yeah, no. I grew up on my dad's big Star Trek guy. One issue I have that I do think really needed to be tightened up, or maybe it was just the directing didn't engage me enough, is it took way too long to me to get going. I felt like there's a side character, there's a detective. I was like, cut that. What are we doing?
Yeah, what was up with that detective Marty, I think his name was, and then he hooks up with the principal that's hot.
Yeah, and then they just go to the house of hoax.
Yeah, they go on adventures together. I'm like, what the fuck was that about?
It didn't make any sense. And again, I understand they're setting things up. I just think at 42 minutes was a long time for Ed to just finally call the number.
It's a cutaway. Cutaway it basically means that if I'm staying with Hoax and Spike all the time, the audience gets bored. So I give them a break and I go and follow these motherfuckers.
Back at the ranch. I don't necessarily always agree with that. I think that's one of those rules that people follow religiously.
Yeah, that cutaway was shit. I'm not gonna argue with you. Although the principal was hot as, but I didn't really care.
Sure, I just didn't. Marty. Yeah,
and
you could have Patrick O'Brien and Spike. Spike should have been the second the cutaway story because at times it was like the punks are. Yeah. They beat up what's his face? Hoax. Yeah, keep calling Jeffers. Whatever. And then the girl is involved, and she's like, they have like a little flirty moment. Like, what's going on, buddy? Like that would have been a little bit better because I did find myself a little like, oh, this is a little long in the tooth. But
I think the visual style a little bit reminded me of Giallo's.
You would know for I would.
Like an 80s version of Giallo, like, colors and stuff and creative camera movements, camera angles or placement.
Yeah, the green lighting in the bathroom doesn't really make sense, but I was like, okay, whatever. It's cool.
Yeah, it's
Giallo. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like a stylistic choice, it's a heightened reality, as they say. Like for me, like the opening, the guy in the phone booth calls and it blows up and he fucking gets thrown. I watched it last night. I'm like, oh, okay, I did not remember that, but that's pretty cool stunt. So let's
that was good opening. Okay,
get down with more. Visually, the film is often interesting. Like I said before, the initial premise has a lot of promise, but I think the execution is a bit clunky.
Agreed.
Doesn't have the momentum that it should. Things progress in a way that's not realistic. Or organic, if you will. I know it's not Remains of the Day over here, but still, give me something. Ground me in some kind of reality. Because, like Christine did it better. Of a kid that slowly gets possessed and then,
But what's the factor? It's different. A master director that like understands.
And like like we said before, I could just use this bit. The guy that gets his hand cut off, he doesn't give a shit. Just use that, and you have a lot of moments like that. Spike, when he finds out, when Hoax confesses to Spike that he
murdered his girlfriend.
Yeah, shoved him around
politely. Politely.
He kind of took it pretty well. And just left. I would have fucked that dude up. Call 5-0.
Yeah. He was just like, I should have done that, and then walks away. But then he goes and like picks up the thing where it's just But I agree. That was very like I was like, maybe there's like a side plot where his girlfriend was like, I don't know, like eating babies. Because again, he was just like I was like, oh, he's just gonna go to the cops. We're gonna go with the cops. And then he just goes, well, I was like, you might want to get to the cops first because you are going to be number one suspect as the boyfriend, sir.
Yeah, let's make an effort. That whole plot thread went out the window. Like there was nothing.
Because they're like, because the guy goes to the school, meets the principal, and he's like, something's up, and then they're just like, Yeah, the dead girl never really comes up again, does it?
No. The chain of events is not that engaging. I thought the visual effects were kind of really bad. So it took me out of the ending.
Yeah, I mean the hell portal, and where the crawl across the pipe was rough. You could see the outline pretty bad, but
And to make shit worse, the score really sucked.
I don't even remember it, so that says something.
It really, 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 really sucked, dude. And I kept thinking that throughout. I'm like, if you had a good score that, augmented the impact of the visuals, helped. Help jack up the suspense. Help, make. No, the score was. I don't even know how to describe that score. I don't even know who the fuck did it, but
I think, dude, we're both coming around to, I think, the same point, which is there's definitely potential there. There's good parts, and I could talk, I could wax poetic about the things that I like. But this is a movie that I would say is very flawed. It's very flawed, and maybe more flawed because I'm older and some of the charm isn't there. Because again, I didn't mind the bullies as much as you do, but I did notice how quickly they folded. I'm like, yeah, but that's like the main antagonist in this entire movie. And you cut one in the face, and they're just like, leave me alone.
Hey, funnily enough, you were just talking about the bullies, and it reminded me of Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat is the dead rocker upside down record, and the upside down record gives tips to the nerd that's picked on, how to basically, dispose of the bullies. And then I realized that the writer of Trick or Treat, which is Reth Topham, is also the writer of this one, 976 Evil, which is also co-written by Brian Elgeland, who wrote Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and went on to write LA Confidential and so forth.
Oh. Yeah. All right. Well, then it looks like the first guy did most of the work. Yeah, I think just held back a little more. But again, you said it's been cut a lot, so maybe the director's cut is more of what I thought would have been fun. But again, there's promise. I don't want to sit here talking shit because in the end, it's not a bad movie. If it's on, I'd easily put it on and watch it. I think it has some charm to it. And like you said, a lot of it is based in that sort of 80s everything. The bullies, the car, the guy smoking the cigarette, the chick banging with the jacket. So that's all ladies. I'm having a good time,
As a child of the 80s who now lives in this society that I'd rather not live in, watching a movie like this, that brings me back to nostalgia and simplicity and a world that I understood, because right now the world I personally as an individual do not understand it, and you could keep it. I don't want, if it was up to me, I want nothing to do with it. This is a fucking shit show. So for me, that when I was watching it last night, I'm like, that's part of the appeal, it's a phone. Somebody had talked about at a certain point, we want to remake 97. Yeah, good luck. Does that even still exist? Like phone numbers for like horoscopes and shit? Or
I mean,
fucking Grindr,
Even if it does, I mean, the point is you'd have to change the main point of it. And if you put it in another technology, it never really translates over.
vinyl came back in vogue.
Sure, but I'm saying, but if you want to update something that makes more sense, it'd have to be Spotify, and it doesn't have the same punch.
No.
So 976 Evil would have to be a text or something like that. It's just like, you know what? Just make new stuff.
I'm kind of ashamed that we haven't spoken about one really huge element of the picture that was very bold, out there, and I respected the audacity. That's the mom, dude.
I mean, I thought the mom was hilarious as a caricature of those, like, I don't know, Southern Baptists.
Scene, she's wearing a different wig.
No, she's great. I mean, I don't, you know, I don't know if it's audacious. It was just a nice little pick at, like, because again, nobody else has a Southern accent but her. That's why I thought it was funny.
Yeah, she's a religious woman. The fish come.
Yeah, they never explained that. Was it's
a sign from God. It's a sign from God that shit's gonna go bad. And even actually, they keep the fish motif. At some point, I think it was the mom. She's standing, and behind her, the shower curtain, there's fishes on it. And there was a deleted scene where the mom, it's deleted, so it's not in the cut that we saw, but the mom had stuffed all the fishes in the freezer because they were from God, you know, but that didn't make the final cut. But yeah, the fish falling from the sky was basically a sign from God. God saying, yo, you know, shit's about to go bad, dog, you know, turn away from El Diablo, man. And yeah, so I thought Sandy Dennis was actually either she won an Oscar or was nominated for an Oscar for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, I think is the name of the movie. Okay. So she's not like, you know, some no-name two-bit, you know, she's an actress that had some clout, and that's why, and I read somewhere, Englund basically let her run with it. Say, yeah, do your thing. So the costume changes, the wigs, the accent, that's all her, fun. And Englund kind of trusted her because, you know, she has clout. Do her shtick. And I thought she was very, if not a caricature, she was very engaging and weird. And I liked her.
Yeah. I mean, her death was a little flat, but I agree.
Flash, and that's it, right?
Yeah, too much slash in this movie. Yeah, but no, she was fun.
That's weren't all that, man. That's weren't all that, man.
No, maybe in the extended cut, the better. You know, I don't want to just
I saw the theatrical cut, the version that I rewatched. I think it was.
Yeah, no, me too, because it's 90 minutes. So
because, you know, there's the glass in the face of somebody, I forgot who.
It's the girl who like was passing out the cards, and that seemed cut too because it's an explosion. Then we just see her body. Yeah, and the spider kill is, I guess, the best kill in the movie, and that's not saying really much. No, it's a unique kill, but in terms of showing something, no, he slams his hand and she falls down. Boom, she dies. By the way, as an aside, sorry guys, dolls, we're all over the place with this episode. Hopefully Lance will fix it in the edit. You know, so he calls the fucking number and the guy says something, blue, 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 blah, blah, whatever the fuck. Next thing you know, he's shirtless. There's a pentagram. He's got blood on him. I'm like, where did he get all this shit from? Where did he learn about it? Yeah. It's not the phone call. So do you have a Necronomicon laying around? Where did like knowing about Satanism and all that shit come from? Like totally left field. That's a lot of this movie though, if we're being real honest. A lot of like you know, A to C, but it's like, okay, but where's B in this plot point? Yeah. No, yeah. So either way, it's fun but flawed. Fun but flawed. You know what? I could live with that. Fun but flawed. I'll watch it again down the road. It's a classic, you know, it's a classic premise. It's a premise. It's a fun premise. Somebody gets picked on, supernatural kicks in. Now they have a opportunity for revenge. And that's a universal theme. Revenge is something that all of us will always relate to because you got fucked over by life. You guys and dolls got fucked over. I've gotten fucked over. And many times, I'm sure for all of us, you wish you could have, you know, got a little payback. But you can't because of rules and laws and this and that, or, you know. But these type of movies that tap into that can act as a cathartic experience where you're like, yeah, man, you know, yeah, I wish that was me. I didn't feel that with this one. Like I felt it with The Crow. I felt it with, I'm trying to think of revenge movies. The Punisher, even, 2004. Revenge universal theme. 976 Evil had everything on a silver platter. It could have been, but clunky. But overall, I select it. Nice. So just go straight in the voicemails. Okay, first one is from Mr. Kevin Randall.
John Lance. Kevin Randall from originally Chicago, Illinois, the South Side, near Lancey Boy. Living the best life down here in Clearwater, Florida now. Just want to say thank you guys. You make my week. Every week is one of the most entertaining shows. I love all the products on the channel, so keep it up. I just wanted to ask you guys, back in the day, I used to rent a movie called The Dead Pit. And The Dead Pit had this VHS cover with these glowing green eyes. I used to get it from the Farmore out in Homewood, Illinois. Now, it was the only place I could find this movie because it wasn't everywhere. It was one of those rare B ones. And I wanted to know if you guys ever saw it or would ever do a bit on it. Again, thank you for all you do. You guys keep it up. Rock on.
Hi, Kevin, my friend. It's been a long time since I've seen The Dead Pit, so I might have to lean on John a little bit, but I should say that I do really like Brett Leonard. Of course, I remember when I was a little kid, Hideaway with Jeff Goldblum. I'm a big fan of Virtuosity.
Me too.
And of course, The Lawnmower Man. I know it's cheesy, but I don't give a shit. Those are great movies. And it's funny because you opened up a little bit of a deep memory because you said you live in Clearwater, but Farmore. That's some old school stuff off of Halstead. I used to be near the silo. I know exactly what that was because I went when I was a little kid and I bought Home Alone when it first came on VHS. And my mom was like, you go pick a movie. And I picked, and I'll never forget it, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 because Freddy Krueger is ripping his face. And I was like, this looks cool. Mom, can I rent this? And because I was a child of the 80s, my mom's like, go for it. But John, The Dead Pit.
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. Before I get into The Dead Pit, thank you for enjoying the show. I'm happy that our sorry asses entertain you. And that it's one of your favorite shows on the internet. That's always nice to hear. The Dead Pit, I know it for the same reasons as you. And it was a really clever VHS box with a zombie coming out and the eyes were blinking green. And I think if I remember correctly, there was a button on the box. You could press it and it blinked. I don't remember much about it. I know there's an unrated version of it now that's out, but I enjoyed it. I remember when I reviewed as the Arrow for Arrow in the Head, I gave it a 7 on 10. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Brett Leonard's first film. And of course, he went on to make, as you know, Lance stipulated before, Lawnmower Man, Virtuosity, Hideaway, Hideaway, actually, the book. I'm deviating.
Yeah, Dean Koontz.
Yeah, Dean Koontz, the book was fucking amazing. Movie not as good, but still good.
Yeah.
Could do that if we're not canceled. And so there you have it. So me, I'm a fan of Dead Pit, 7 on 10 from when I first saw it, as far back as I can remember. But I definitely have to give it another watch now that there is an unrated version that's either out or coming out. Definitely gonna tap that ass.
Okay, next one is Corey Michael. I don't know if it's Michael Corey or Corey Michael, but let's see what you got, buddy.
Good afternoon, Messrs. John and Lance. My name is Michael. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Been following the show now for about 6 months. Discovered you through Joe Blow and Tyler Nichols. I would love to see you guys do a deep dive on 2 so bad it's good horror movies from the 80s. The first one is called Brain Damage. It's from the same director that did the Basket Case trilogy. It's about an alien named Elmer that latches onto a young gentleman, and there's a certain secretion. It's not gross or in that manner, and it causes a very psychedelic, almost like an acid trip for this character. The second movie, I don't remember the director's name. I just remember seeing it in a Fangoria magazine way in when I was younger. And it's called The Deadly Spawn, The Return of the Aliens, although it has been retitled to The Deadly Spawn. It's a so bad it's good movie. Love this show. Love this so much. You guys are awesome, and I love it when you guys bicker back and forth because you always make great points. Keep doing the things you're doing, and if those 2 sound like a great thing for you guys to do, awesome. If not, hey, it was a suggestion. Take care of yourselves, be well, and stay safe. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I've Brain Damage is one I remember renting a lot as a kid, and it was actually on the last drive in the Joe Bob, and I showed my missus, and she actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
Awesome.
I'm a big Basket Case fan. It's funny, I like the first, but I I'm a bigger fan of 2 and 3 because I think it just goes in the direction that I like. But I remember, because I didn't remember as a kid, that there's a cameo on the train with Dwayne, and he has longer hair and he has what's his face in the basket. And I was like, okay, that's kind of fun. It's like sexy. There's nudity. There's blood. It's goofy. I think Brain Damage is a super fun movie. I'm all about that stuff, man. But I should be honest. I've never seen. I even looked up the cover. The cover looks familiar, but I've never seen Deadly Spawn. As much as I think I've seen a lot, it's comments like this. I'm like, man, I need to get out of my shit.
Well, similar story to Lance. Actually, I remember Brain Damage because it was a bit of a Holy Grail movie for me. I read about it in Fangoria. And then I went through a lot with the MPAA. So it got neutered. And it took a while for it to get released in Canada anyways, where I'm originally from. And it finally came out on VHS. And I rented it, and it was, chopped to pieces in terms of gore. And it took until I saw, and don't quote me on it, I might be wrong. I'm an old dude. I forget shit. Anchor Bay. I think Anchor Bay finally put out, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Anchor Bay that put out an unrated Brain Damage disc. Anchor
Bay, I don't know if you remember, in the early 2000s, that was like the first Shout Factory or even Arrow like that. That's I have a bunch of Evil Deads. I even have the this amazing Evil Dead 2 little tin box.
Anchor Bay was the tits, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like Lionsgate. When Lionsgate started, they were the tits too. Putting out a lot of horror. I mean, they put out Saw.
Back in the day, yeah, they were ones I would trust. It was like the old New Line where I'm like, ooh, I'm in good hands. But
so huge Brain Damage fan. When I finally got to see it unrated, I was happy as a pig in shit. So I would love to cover that movie with you, Lancey boy, down the road, because it's a fuckload of fun, and the phallic symbolism in that film, because Elmer is basically a dick. Like not like he's an asshole. He's a penis. He's a talking penis. That's basically what he is. So I respect that. So
hopefully one day we can.
Yeah, one day. Yeah. And Deadly Spawn, never heard of it. So I checked it real fast when I was taking a leak before, and it cost 25 G's. So there you go.
That's it, man. 976 Evil, Robert Englund. Fun little movie, flawed, but at least it's a good time.
And what about you guys in those? What do you think of the movie? Yay, nay, middle ground? Do a 976 the fucking comments below and let us know what's up. How you feel about the movie, if you've seen the sequel, if you like the sequel better. Because on the Internet Movie Database, I checked out the sequel, and people like the user reviews or whatever. Oh, better than the original, better than the original. I'm like, really?
I doubt it.
I remember part 2 being ass on a stick, but maybe, I was too young. Who fucking knows? So let us know what you think. Waiting for your comments, and we'll see you next time. Lance, always a pleasure.
All right, boss. Talk to you soon.